Hey, story seekers, it's Nesha, and you are now listening to Nesha's Open Diary, where the stories are real and the tea is all about me. Welcome to Nesha's Open Diary. I am Nesha, and you are listening to Nesha's Open Diary, where my story times are true and my experiences are real. And today's story time is about a sleepover I allowed my daughter to have, but it was real different. It's something I never experienced when my kids had sleepovers before, so yeah, I'll let y'all be the judge about whether or not y'all think this situation was weird or not. So we had moved back home after I had left the military. My kids were getting adjusted to a new school and a new environment. It was all new to my daughter because I had her in New Jersey and she only knew the things of, our hometown based on what she had been told. I told her about where we were originally from, and we also didn't move back to the city where we are actually from. We moved to another city that none of us were familiar with. In fact, none of my kids are familiar with our hometown because they are military kids and they were used to being in that environment. So my daughter is in elementary school and she is trying to make friends. But as we know, making friends at any age can be difficult. More importantly, finding people who are genuinely and mutually suited to be in a friendship. So she becomes cool with this girl in her class. And so one day during the week, my daughter comes to me and she asks me if she can have company over for the weekend. I say, okay, that's fine, but I need to meet her parents. Touch base, make sure they're comfortable with her staying over here. And I have had my own experiences with sleepovers and staying at people's houses. So I am big on making sure that any minor child that's from 17 on down is in a safe environment at my home. This might have been maybe midweek when the conversation about her staying over was had. The weekend rolls around, it's Friday afternoon, and by the way, the school that my daughter was attending was behind our house. I could literally stand on the corner and watch her walk to school. So when school let out Friday afternoon, my daughter comes home, but she doesn't come home alone. She comes home with the girl. Now, I can't speak for how other people do in their households and stuff or whatever, but whenever my mother let me go over somebody's house to sleep or whatever the case may have been, I had to go home from school before I went over somebody else's house. But, however, the girl comes home with her from school. I was a little thrown because, again, I expected her to come later in the evening. So I don't think too much into it. And I welcome her, I fix them an after school snack, and they go to my daughter's room to play. And as the afternoon moves on, it's getting into the early evening. This girl ain't heard nothing from a parent. She ain't talked to a parent. She ain't said nothing. Just, doing what kids do. So I asked her, are your parents going to bring you, clean clothes and an overnight bag and stuff or whatever? And, basically for the time that she would be there. And I told the girl to call her mother and then I needed to speak to her mother. So she calls and she is talking to her mother on my phone. And I tell the girl to give me the phone. I'd like to speak to her mother myself. Mind you, she was literally carrying on a conversation with her mother. I get on the phone and I say hello. I can literally hear someone on the phone breathing and background noise. The mother didn't utter not one word. So I'm like, here to the girl. She ain't saying anything. That was red flag number 1. So the girl gets back on the phone and I'm still standing there and she says hello and she starts talking to her mother and I can hear the mother talking back to her. And I'm standing there like, what the fuck? And at that point, I don't feel comfortable with her staying no more. So she hangs up and she says, my mom's on the way with my things and you can talk to her when she gets here. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. You know, I'm still trying to keep an open mind. I'm being optimistic. Like, I don't know what the situation is. Don't know the mother. So I don't know what the issue could be. We ain't never met a day in our life. Don't know. So again, I'm like, okay, that's fine. A little while later, I hear a car in the driveway. And I tell the girl, hey, I think your mom's out there. The girl goes running out the front door to the car. I go outside and I stand on the front porch, thinking the mother is going to get out of the car. You know, she gonna come up to me. We're gonna meet. We're gonna talk. You know, so she can at least see who she is leaving her child with. The girl is given a bag and she runs back up on the porch and back into the house. The car is still sitting there, but nobody is rolling the window down and saying nothing. Nobody's getting out. And it got tinted windows. Can't see much. So I proceed to approach the car. And as I'm walking down the stairs, and then I get, to the little walkway to go to the driveway, before I could get over there, the car started backing out of the driveway and then took off. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? This is weird. What kind of parent are you? What kind of parent just leaves her child with a stranger? That was red flag number 2. Something didn't sit right. Shit, something wasn't right. So I go back in the house and I tell the girl to call her mother because I was going to tell her to come back and get her. She couldn't stay because I can't even meet you can't even come and meet the person you are leaving your child with. I have her call her mother and there was no answer. I then tell my daughter she needs to go home, but I could never get in touch with the mother, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway because she wouldn't say nothing when I got on the phone. So Saturday rolls around, same thing, no contact the entire day. I don't like it when I have somebody else's kid. I want to be in constant contact with that person. If I need to get in contact with you, if your child gets hurt, if your child is sick, whatever the case may be, I need to be in constant communication with you. And I need you to know that your child is good. Your child is safe in my environment. Your child is safe in my possession. And I wanted the mother to know your child is safe. You ain't got to worry about your child being molested over here. You ain't got to worry about your child being mistreated in any kind of way. So as the day is going by, I start questioning the girl about her home life because something is unsettling to me. I find out that her father is not in the picture, which, I mean, that's a lot of households. That's not anything out of the ordinary. I find out that her meals are far and few between, and her home life ain't home lifing, to say the least. Then things started to make a little bit more sense. This girl had been coached to attach herself to my daughter for a roof over her head and some hot meals for the weekend. Because there was a whole lot of other things that I found out. And my daughter didn't realize she was being used. She thought this girl really wanted to be friends with her. But as the weekend continued, it was obvious that there was no friendship being built or in the making. My daughter didn't even know the girl for real. That's why I was like, you want to have a sleepover? You barely know this girl. And y'all friends that quick? We ain't even been living here that long. But my daughter kept asking, and she missed her friends from where we had moved from. So I allowed it. Sunday comes, and there had been no word from her mother to her since Friday afternoon, Friday early evening. While I was trying not to be judgmental of her mother, it was hard for me not to want to call CPS or something. And I'm not saying that situation warranted CPS. I'm just saying it made me feel like that because something was just not right. My kids have had sleepovers before, and I've never had a parent react like that and not even want to meet you or none of this. It was really strange. This child had been, from my perspective, this child had been dumped on me for the weekend. My husband wasn't there because he was over the road truck driving for FedEx at the time, and he was gone. So when I talked to him, I told him what was going on, and he said, call the mother and tell her to come and get her child. And I told him she wouldn't talk to me at all, and I tried that already, and it was really strange. And I asked him, do you think this is strange? Like, we didn't have other kids spend the night and stuff or whatever, and that's just weird. Like, I couldn't understand what was happening. How she wouldn't at least come and meet me or nothing, but you want to leave your kid here. So, by Sunday, it's Sunday afternoon by this time, I'm beginning to ask, what time did your mother say she's coming to get you? It's a school night. And she don't know. The day keeps rolling on. It's getting into the evening. It's dinner time. So, I feed her dinner and stuff or whatever. And then I have her get her things together. I done washed her clothes. I done gave her a bath. Anything that I'm doing for my kids, I'm doing for her. And I tell her to call her mother. But once again, there was no answer. Now it's getting late evening. It's around 9 o'clock. And I can't speak for anybody else's household. But on a school night in my house, if you a child that got to go to school, by 9 o'clock, it's getting shut down. It's finna to be quiet. So you can be well rested for school and ready for your school day the next day. We had structure around my house. And eventually, I hear a car in the driveway because I had been looking for her. And at this point, I was pissed. And I had been sitting on the couches, looking out the curtains and the blinds, just sitting there watching and waiting to see a car pull in. And I'm ready to get a mother a piece of my mind. And I was sitting on that couch looking out that front window, waiting for her. And as soon as she pulled up, I jumped up. And I go outside and I go approach the car. And her daughter is about to come out there, but she's like, getting her bag and stuff or whatever. And I'm knocking on the driver's side window. No response. Didn't roll the window down. Didn't say nothing. The girl comes running out the house, off the porch, opens the back door, jumps in the back seat. And, I'm trying to say something or whatever. The girl just slams the door, just closed the door. It didn't even matter that I was trying to talk or nothing. And the car begins to then back out of the driveway. As I am still standing there in my driveway. And I had to back up before this female ran over my feet. I have another choice word for her, but before this female ran over my feet. And I stood there in disbelief like, what the fuck is going on here? And after that, I told my daughter, don't ask for nobody else to spend the night. Because the answer is no. And you ain't spending the night over nobody's house either. Needless to say, when my daughter saw that girl in class, she snubbed my daughter. Never said another word to her. And I guess you can figure out how the friendship turned out. I would have never expected that my child would encounter something like that in elementary school. And at one point, I thought about taking that little girl and dropping her off at the police station and telling them that this little girl is a stranger. Her mother just dropped her off in my house and left. I was really about to do that at one point. And I keep telling y'all, these story times are crazy. And I know that y'all like, come on, man, all this stuff happened to you. But yes, and a lot of this stuff is unbelievable. But I can't make these things up because I have lived them. I have been through this stuff. And some of this stuff be so weird and so far-fetched and so strange, but the stuff really happened. And I be scratching my own head like, how is people really like this? Like, oh my God. But this is a story time. I let my daughter have a sleepover with that girl, and those are the things that happen. And to this day, I ask myself, like, what was going on? Like, what was that about? Because I, as a parent, I want to catch a vibe on somebody before I let my child stay at your house, because I don't trust nobody as it is. So I'm definitely not going to let my child spend the night somewhere where I ain't felt you out or, talk to you, got a vibe, kind of, tried to get a little sense of who you are and how you motivate. See if you seem like you're a genuine person, just something, but I don't know. But that's all for this story time. So, all right, story seekers, that is all for this story time. I am out of here. Make sure you follow me on all socials at Nesha's Open Diary and my website at nesha'sopendiary.podbean.com. And until next time, I will meet you where the pen meets the diary. All right, story seekers, that does it for this story time. I'm out of here. Until next time, make sure you tap in, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nesha's Open Diary, and I will meet you where the pen meets the diary.